True or false? Tornadoes have been reported in every state. Although we generally think of Kansas and Oklahoma when we hear the word tornado, they have been reported in every state, including Alaska and Hawaii. They also occur over many terrains, including mountains, valleys, deserts, and swamps, from the Gulf Coast to Canada and the Atlantic to the Pacific. Like cherry blossoms in Washington, March Madness basketball, or the first UPS guy to sport shorts, broadcast meteorologists in many parts of the country annually welcome another rite of spring, tornado season. Surprisingly, many tornado injuries are not caused by the funnel cloud itself. Though flying debris does cause many deaths, a study after a tornado in Marion, Illinois, found that fully 50% of storm injuries happened during rescue attempts, cleanup, and other post-tornado activity. Nearly a third of the injuries came from stepping on nails, but other causes included falling or heavy rolling objects. Broken power lines, gas lines, and exposed wiring also pose dangers. Here are some suggestions to help protect your viewer's health both during and after a twister. The funnel cloud cannot always be seen and may be hidden by clouds, rain showers, or the dark of night. Some other signs of a tornado are a dark or green-colored sky, a large, dark, low-lying wall cloud, large hail, or the famous freight train roar. Sheltering, of course, should be done away from windows in an interior basement or first-floor room, and never in a mobile home. Instead, mobile home residents and anyone else caught in the open should find a substantial building to shelter in, or, failing that, lie flat in the nearest ditch, ravine, or culvert away from trees while shielding their head with their hands. Warn drivers not to try to outrun a tornado and not to shelter under their car. Immediately following a tornado strike, remind viewers to be careful when entering any structure that has been damaged, and to be particularly vigilant for exposed nails and broken glass. People should wear sturdy shoes or boots, long sleeves, and gloves when handling or walking on or near debris. As with all natural disasters, you could remind viewers not to use generators, grills, camp stoves, or anything else that runs on fuel inside a house, or even near an open window, door, or vent because of the danger of carbon monoxide poisoning. And of course, viewers should not touch downed power lines or objects in contact with downed power lines, but report them to police and utilities instead. Guess what percentage of people who live in hurricane-prone areas have actually experienced the eyewall winds of a major hurricane? Many people who live in hurricane-prone areas have experienced weaker storms or peripheral winds of major storms, but relatively few have experienced a major hurricane's full fury. This leads to complacency when people assume mild conditions are typical. As a broadcast meteorologist, it is important for you to explain risks clearly and publicize the importance of evacuation orders when they have been issued. Hurricanes are deceptively deadly. Storm surge is probably the most notorious hurricane threat, and with good reason. On September 21, 1938, when a fast-moving Category 3 hurricane dubbed the Long Island Express struck New England with a 12-foot storm surge, 600 died. More famously, the Galveston, Texas hurricane of 1900's 8 to 15-foot storm surge claimed 6,000 lives. But hurricanes' most potent killing power comes not from wind or waves, but from rain. In recent times, inland flooding has proven far more deadly than storm surge. A study of storms from 1970 to 1999 found that freshwater flooding accounted for 59% of U.S. tropical cyclone deaths. Storm surge accounted for a mere 1%. A quarter of all U.S. tropical cyclone deaths occur to people who drown in or while attempting to abandon their cars. Over 3/4 of children killed by tropical cyclones drown in freshwater floods. Some of the greatest rainfall occurs in weaker storms that drift slowly or stall, even in communities hundreds of miles from the coast. Tropical Storm Allison in 2001 dropped torrents of rain and caused catastrophic flooding along a line from Houston to North Carolina and then north to Massachusetts. 41 deaths resulted from the heavy rain, flooding, tornadoes, and high surf. In 1999, Hurricane Floyd swamped the eastern U.S. with rain. Of the 56 killed, 50 drowned in inland flooding. During a hurricane's landfall, high winds and tornadoes cause most injuries and deaths. Of U.S. cyclone deaths from 1970 to 1999, tornadoes caused 4% and high winds caused 12%. Studies have shown more than half of landfalling hurricanes spawn at least one tornado, but even non-tornado hurricane force winds can rival tornadoes in their ability to hurl projectiles through stationary objects, including people. To help your viewers stay safe, encourage them to obey evacuation orders and select the nearest possible evacuation destination to minimize travel. They should prepare their homes for storms by securing or moving indoors all loose objects in the yard, shuttering or boarding up doors and windows, shutting off utilities and disconnecting appliances, putting livestock or family pets in a safe area, and leaving as quickly as possible. Remind them not to forget their portable disaster kit described in the preparedness section of this unit. A portion of the population may be advised not to evacuate. Encourage these people to stay inside during the storm, away from windows, skylights, and doors, preferably in a small interior safe room. In a hurricane's aftermath, people also need to be aware of the many cleanup dangers, such as power outages, electrocution, carbon monoxide poisoning, water and food contamination, mold, insect stings, animal bites, and sharp or precarious debris. True or false? If trapped in a fire zone, you should protect your lungs by covering your mouth and nose with a wet cloth. Although a dry cloth can filter larger particles from the air, a wet cloth is inadvisable because moist air causes more damage to airways than dry air at the same temperature. In October 2003, Santa Ana winds drove devastating wildfires across Southern California. A multi-year drought and an extensive pine beetle infestation had left large tracts of dead timber in the forested mountains east of Los Angeles and San Diego. Grasses that had grown tall during spring rains were bone dry. The last measurable rainfall prior to the fire event fell in late spring. Southern California experienced record-high temperatures during mid-October, just prior to the fires. Then the Santa Ana winds began to blow, and relative humidities dropped below 10%. Fires started in the mountains and raced toward the cities, scorching over 750,000 acres of land, burning 3,710 homes, and claiming 24 lives. In October 2007, these grim scenarios were repeated, as drought and high winds combined to char over 370,000 acres of land and destroy 1,723 homes. This time, the fires were blamed for over 110 injuries and 28 fatalities. Though the flames of fires like these are dramatic and dangerous, smoke has a much greater potential to sicken people. Wildfire smoke is a mixture of gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and water vapor, chemicals like benzene, formaldehyde, and acrolein, and fine particles of charred plant material. Small particles cause most health problems for the relatively short-term exposures experienced by the public during wildfires. Smoke can make eyes sting, throat scratchy, sinuses irritated, breath shortened, and can provoke coughing, runny nose, chest pain, headaches, bronchitis, and asthma attacks. It can also impair the body's immune system and inhibit its ability to remove foreign objects like pollen and bacteria from the lungs. More worrisome, wildfire smoke can trigger sudden death in people with pre-existing lung and heart disease. As with air pollution, children, seniors, heart and lung disease patients, asthmatics, and pregnant women are most susceptible. However, the long-term health risks from only a few days or weeks of wildfire smoke are quite low. If viewers are advised to stay indoors by local public health officials, remind them to keep windows and doors closed unless it's extremely hot outside, in which case they should seek alternative shelter. Paper dust masks don't really help, but an N95 mask that's properly fitted might offer some protection to those who are at great risk. Encourage viewers to run air conditioners with the fresh air intake closed and a clean filter. Those inside should be worn to help keep indoor air clean by avoiding burning candles, fireplaces, or gas stoves. Advise viewers to use common sense. If it looks smoky, it's probably not a good time for that 10-mile jog. And it's not a bad time to quit smoking, either.